2023 for LEGO Star Wars is now finally coming to a close, and with new 2024 sets on the horizon, it is finally time to rank every single LEGO Star Wars set that was released in 2023. We have a total of 30 separate sets to get through, so I don't want to waste any more time with this intro. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and without further ado, let's get on with the list. Coming in at the 30th spot, I have 30654 X-Wing Starfighter Polybag. This set was released back in January with 87 pieces and a retail price of $5 US, and it was also released as a gift with purchase in May, and it's just a poly bag. I mean, they're not really that special, no minifigures, no big build or anything, so that's why it's at the 30th spot. But at the 29th spot, I have a set that does include figures, being 75358 Tenu Jedi Temple. This set was released on June 1st with 124 pieces and a retail price of $40 US, and if you didn't know, this is a 4+ set that is based off of the Young Jedi Adventure show, which I never even watched, and obviously for an adult collector like me, I'm not going to be very interested in a 4+ set, that's why I put it at the back of the list. However, for little kids, this is a pretty fun set with decent play features and a very simple build that is easy to learn, but it's just not for a collector like me. And onto the number 28th spot, I have 75344 Boba Fett's Slave 1 Microfighter. This set was released back on January 1st with 85 pieces and a retail price of $10, and it's really just a simple little microfighter. That's what they all really are to me, and it comes with this pretty cool exclusive Boba Fett that does have arm printing. However, it's still a microfighter, so there's just not a lot going on. Same thing with the 27th spot, where I have 75363 The Mandalorian N1 Starfighter Microfighter. This set was released in August with 88 pieces and a retail price of $16 US because it included 2 minifigures, although I don't really think Baby Yoda was enough to raise the price point by $6. However, that's what they did, and really these two microfighters are just personal preference, but I ranked this one over the Boba Fett Starship because I actually like the build in this one a little bit better, and it includes 2 minifigures obviously. At the number 26 spot, I have 40591 Death Star 2. This set was released on May 1st as a gift with purchase. I think if you spent like over $150 on lego.com between May 1st and May 4th, give or take 150, I don't remember exactly, but still this is just a little miniature build, and I think LEGO did the best job they could with the size they were given, and it's definitely a little cool display piece that you can sit on your desk or something. On to the number 25th spot, I have 75368 Darth Vader Mech. This set was released in August with 139 pieces and a retail price of $16 US, and in my opinion, out of the 3 mechs we've got so far, this is the worst one. And believe it or not, I actually think the mechs are a really cool concept, and I like them a lot more than microfighters just because they're really cool to collect. It's just this Darth Vader mech is the weakest one they've released so far. And at the number 24th spot, I have 75370 Stormtrooper Mech. This set was also released back in August with 138 pieces and a retail price of $16 US as well, and I definitely like this mech a lot more than the Darth Vader one. The brick built gun included is really cool looking, and it also comes with this printed tile that has the Imperial logo on it. And at the 23rd spot, I had the best LEGO Star Wars mech so far in my opinion, which is 75369 Boba Fett Mech. Like the others, this one was released in August with 155 pieces and a retail price of $16 US, and I think LEGO just did a really good job with this. It's very colorful and definitely resembles Boba Fett's armor, and it also comes with this cool exclusive arm printed Boba Fett. On to the 22nd spot, I have a set that I think probably shouldn't even exist, being 75360 Yoda's Jedi Starfighter. This set was released in August with 253 pieces and a retail price of $35 US. So right off the bat, it's very overpriced. It shouldn't be more than 30 in my opinion, even with taking inflation into consideration, and it's still just strange to me as to why they felt the need to recreate this. I mean, I know in an interview they claimed that they just wanted a set to put Yoda in and that Starfighter still, but I think there's definitely some other options for sets that they could have included Yoda in that would have sold well, so I feel like it was pretty crappy that they decided to remake Yoda's Jedi Starfighter when we just got one in 2016. However, all of that stuff aside, the build is pretty nice and it is more accurate than the 2016 version, and that's why I put it at the number 22 spot. On to the number 21 spot, we have the only sequel set that was released this year, being 40658 Millennium Falcon Holiday Diorama. This was the one seasonal set released alongside the Advent calendar in September with 282 pieces and a retail price of $30 US, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like this thing. Obviously, you guys know I don't prefer the sequels, however, this is just a cool set, and I really like the Christmas minifigures in there, with Rey and Finn having those cool sweaters. And then the rest of the build is just very fun and festive, and honestly, if you guys want a Christmas set, I would strongly recommend this. Making our way into the top 20, at the 20th spot, I have a set that most of you guys have probably forgotten about by this point, being 75371 Chewbacca. This set was released on September 1st with 2,319 pieces and a retail price of $200 US. Now this is the first buildable character that we've gotten in quite a while. I'm pretty sure the last one was Baby Yoda in like 2021 or 2020. And I mean, obviously this set got made fun of a lot, mainly because of its face. It just looks super awkward. But I mean, I don't really know what LEGO could have done better here. I mean, I feel like making the face look weird was kind of unavoidable. I feel like they at least could have made his mouth closed. However, he is Chewbacca and they wanted to make him look like he was roaring or whatever he does. Although I do have to say the face does look a lot worse on the box art and in the pictures than it actually does in person, because when I actually got this set for myself and I saw it built, I was like, this actually looks pretty decent. The way they did his fur and his body and his stance looks very well, despite it being a very boring and repetitive build. And also his bowcaster is very nice looking too. However, again, his face still does look pretty bad in person. Definitely looks worse in the pictures, but it's still bad in person. And that combined with it being $200 as well as being a very long and repetitive and painful build, I just really couldn't put it any higher than the 20th spot. On to the number 19th spot, I have 75349 Captain Rex helmet. This set was released back in March with 854 pieces and a retail price of $70 US. And ever since the helmet set subline came out, people had been wanting a Captain Rex, and LEGO finally delivered, and I don't think it's that good personally. I mean, it's not terrible, however, I just think they didn't quite get the shaping right, and it doesn't really resemble Captain Rex as good as it could, and I still think it's a pretty good display piece. It just kind of disappointed me, and I think it's the worst helmet set that was released this year. And a helmet set that I think is a little bit better is 75351 Princess Leia Bouche helmet, which comes in at the number 18th spot. This set was also released back in March with 670 pieces and a retail price of $70 US, and I actually think this helmet is a little bit underrated because it got overshadowed by Captain Rex and Commander Cody. I mean, I think it's a very solid build. They got the shaping and the details down perfectly. However, they didn't really get the color right. The top of the helmet is supposed to be more of a gray color instead of brown. However, besides that, I think it looks pretty good and it's a nice display piece. On to the number 17th spot, I have another set that you guys probably have forgotten about, which is 75361 Spider Tank. This set was released in August with 526 pieces and a retail price of $50 US. Now, this is another set that I feel like we could have done without of. I feel like it was just a weird option for a set, and that led to a lot of people just looking over it. However, I actually think the build is pretty cool. It's very unique, it's very fun to play with, and on top of that, you get an incredible Bo-Katan figure that is exclusive. And coming in at the 16th spot, I have 75362 Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle. This set was released in September with 601 pieces and a retail price of $80 US, and there are a lot of great things about this set. The minifigure lineup is basically perfect, and the top side of the ship is very detailed and very nice looking. However, I could not put it up higher on the list because of the bottom side just being completely gray, which just completely ruins the look of the set for me. I mean, the wings are supposed to spin around the cockpit, but on the underside there's just nothing but gray. However, again, the top side is very detailed, and so are the engines in the cockpit, and that's why I put it at the number 16th spot, but I can't put it any higher. On to the number 15th spot, I have 75346 Pirate Snub Fighter. This set was released back in May with 285 pieces and a retail price of $35 US, and unlike Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, this set actually feels like it's worth $35. And also, I just think in general it's a very underrated set, and both of the minifigures are incredible, especially the pilot having that really nice yellow armor. At the 14th spot, I have the best helmet set released this year in my opinion, and one of the best helmet sets LEGO has ever made, being 75350 Clone Commander Cody helmet. This set was released back in March with the other two with 766 pieces and a retail price of $70 US. And in my opinion, this one is just leagues above the other two. It's basically as accurate as they could have gotten it. The only complaint I have with it is that his visor is a little bit short. I feel like it could have stuck out a little bit farther on the top. However, besides his visor, this set is incredible. They got the shape of the helmet down perfectly, and if you are looking to get any of the helmet sets, I would strongly recommend this one. At the 13th spot, I have probably the most controversial set that was released this year, being 75359 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper Battle Pack. This set was released back in August with 108 pieces and a retail price of $20 US. And yes, the Clone Troopers in this set definitely have their problems. A lot of people dislike the Captain Vaughn figure because he has an orange visor when it should be dark red. However, I don't think he looks bad in any way. He definitely doesn't look as bad as the other three included. There's a lot of people that care about helmet holes, and there's a lot of people that don't care, and I do have to say I do care about them on certain Clone Troopers. I mean, if the Clone Trooper needs helmet accessories like a Captain or a Specialist Trooper, they're okay, but to me it really does take away from the look of the normal Troopers when they don't have accessories on. I think they should just have the older helmets. And you might be thinking why I ranked this set so high, especially over Commander Cody's helmet, and this is probably one of the only times you'll catch me saying this for a battle pack, but the reason I ranked it so high is because of the build. It's small and it only costs $20, but when I built this for myself, I was just blown away. In terms of shaping and proportion, it's the best swamp speeder LEGO has given us. It's very small, yet it's very compact and detailed at the same time, and despite the clone troopers not being as good as they could have been, I think the build actually kind of carries this set. At the number 12 spot, I have the other battle pack that was released this year, being 75345 501st Clone Troopers Battle Pack. This set was released back in January with 119 pieces and a retail price of $20 US, and unlike the 332nd Troopers Battle Pack, this one actually has very nice looking clone troopers. Their helmet holes are covered up because they all have accessories on, and speaking of accessories, the Specialist Trooper does come with those very nice looking macro binoculars. I still wish there was a black bar printed on the front just to add some type of detail, but still I think LEGO definitely delivered on them after we've waited for so long, and then the rest of the troopers just look incredible as well. The officer does have the printed waist cape, which is a downside, but it's easy to ignore with how good the Specialist is and the two heavy troopers. At the number 11 spot, we have a set that really surprised me once I actually saw it in person, and that is 75365 Yavin 4 Rebel Base. This set was released back in August with 1,066 pieces and a retail price of $170 US. And like everyone, when I first saw this set when it was announced, I thought $170 was absolutely terrible for how many pieces we got. But then once I actually got this set and I saw it built, I realized this actually does feel like a $170 set. I don't really like LEGO Star Wars sets that are of buildings or landscapes, however you want to describe it, but this one just looks good, especially on display. It's tall and it definitely grabs your attention, and it looks very nice if you have it on display on like the top of your shelf. And on top of that, you get 12 incredible minifigures, my favorite ones being the two Rebel pilots, except all of them are very nice. Although the reason I didn't rank this set higher is because there are some flaws with it. One is that the tree that's on the side is pretty ugly and pretty lazy looking, and like most people, I don't really like the inclusion of that downsized Y-wing. Since it's so downsized, it's just a little goofy to me, and because the actual build is so good, the Y-wing is just easy to forget about. Now, making our way into the top 10, at the number 10 spot, I have another pretty controversial set, being 75354 Coruscant Guard Gunship. This set was released back in September with 1,083 pieces and a retail price of $140 US, and I have to say, this set does get quite a bit of hate for the wrong reasons in my opinion. Yes, the clone troopers aren't the greatest, especially Commander Fox. I honestly still think he's one of the worst clone troopers ever made. The two shock troopers do look pretty decent in my opinion. They have the helmet holes, however they do have a lot of printing on their helmet, and for some reason, to me at least, the amount of printing on their helmet kind of takes away from their helmet holes and makes them look pretty good, but obviously there are still certain angles where they're noticeable. However, when I said this set gets hated on for the wrong reasons, I was talking about the build. Most people dislike this set because it was downsized and it is very small compared to the 2013 version. However, that doesn't really bother me at all. I think it looks very nice and it's very proportionate, and I also just really like the red and white color, especially these stripes on the doors. I just love how they look. However, the problems I have with this build come with how the doors don't open all the way, which makes it pretty hard to get your fingers in there to put the clone troopers in the inside, therefore leaving a lot of empty space that is unused. And also, obviously, instead of having ball turrets on the wings, it has those slope pieces that try to represent a ball turret. They obviously don't look as good as a ball turret would have, and they don't really represent a ball turret at all. However, if you're not looking for that, it's not very noticeable, and it definitely doesn't take away from the look of the build. I mean, it's still annoying, and it means it doesn't look as good or as accurate as it could have. It's just not as bad as people make it out to be. Again, the main problem I have with the build is just how crammed the interior is, but besides those things, I think the outside looks very nice. I love the colors, and I forgot to mention, I also really like the Palpatine and Padme minifigures. At the number 9 spot, I have the long-awaited 75347 TIE Bomber. This set was released in January with 625 pieces and a retail price of $65 US, and I say long-awaited because this was the first TIE Bomber LEGO had made in 20 years, and I think they definitely delivered. The build is pretty much perfect on the outside. I love the proportions, I love how it looks, and the minifigure lineup is pretty solid as well, although I wish it would have included a Stormtrooper, but that's just a small nitpick. I think what we got is solid. The only complaint I have about this set is that the cockpit area where the TIE pilot sits is just very crammed, and the set looks super good on the outside, but when you open it up, you do see how crammed it is, and you realize the build is a little bit downsized and it should be a little bit bigger, but besides that, this is a great set, and I think it deserves the number 9th spot. At the number 8 spot, I have the first diorama set on this list, being 75353 Indoor Speeder Chase Diorama. This set was released back in May with 608 pieces and a retail price of $80 US. Now again, the top of the trees on this set do bother me just a little bit, but I mean, I think LEGO LEGO really did the best they could have. The main highlights for this set are definitely in the terrain and then the speeders. I mean, these speeders are just absolutely incredible. They're by far the best speeders LEGO has ever made. They are highly detailed and highly compact with a lot of small pieces, and I really like the tan and black colorways. And then on top of that, you get 3 exclusive figures that all look very nice. On to the number 7 spot, I have one of the most popular sets released this year, being 75348 Mandalorian Fang Fighter vs TIE Interceptor. This set was also released back in May with 957 pieces and a retail price of $100 US. And last, we finally got a new TIE Interceptor. Similar to the TIE Bomber, it had been a very long time since LEGO had made a TIE Interceptor as well, with the last one coming out in 2006, and now we finally got a new one and they delivered. I genuinely do not think this TIE Interceptor could be any better. It's the perfect size, it's the perfect proportions, and it just looks mean and aggressive like a TIE Interceptor should. And then since this is a Versus set, on top of that you do get the Mandalorian Fang Fighter. It's definitely not as cool as the TIE Interceptor, however it's still a very solid build. However, all of that aside, I do think the minifigure lineup is a bit lackluster for this set. I mean, obviously we need the TIE Pilot and then the Mandalorian Pilot. However, I really wish this set didn't include Din Djarin. I mean, he's a cool figure, however I feel like LEGO kind of just threw him in this set when they didn't have to. It could have been someone else. And onto the number 6 spot, I have the other diorama set that was released this year, being 75352 Emperor's Throne Room Diorama. This set was also released back in May with 807 pieces and a retail price of $100 US. And as of now, I think this is the best diorama LEGO has made so far. The build is just so sleek looking, and the design of the Emperor's window is just incredible. And on top of that, you can recreate a lot of iconic scenes. If you haven't bought one of the LEGO Star Wars dioramas yet and you're looking to get one, I would strongly recommend this set. Now making our way into the top 5, at the number 5 spot, I have a set that some of you might be a little surprised to see so high up on this list, and that is 75356 Executor Super Star Destroyer. This set was released back in May with 630 pieces and a retail price of $70 US, and this set marked the return of the LEGO Star Wars midi-scale subline, and it just looks incredible. I mean, when I got this set, yes, I was expecting it to be pretty good. However, when I built it, it just way exceeded my expectations. It is so sleek and detailed, and the 2 Star Destroyers on the side just make it look super cool and aesthetically pleasing. And if you want a really nice display model of a ship that is not super expensive like the UCS sets, I cannot stress enough how good of an option this is. And it really just makes me super excited to see the other midi-scale sets coming in 2024. On to the number 4 spot, I have another very popular set released this year, being 75364 New Republic E-Wing vs Shin Hati Starfighter. This set was released back in September with 1056 pieces and a retail price of $110 US. And now, if you couldn't tell, we are really getting into the best of the best here. Both of these Starfighter models are just perfect. I think this is the best Versus set LEGO has ever made. The E-Wing has such a cool and sleek design, however I like Shin Hati Starfighter just a little bit more. It resembles like an old World War I airplane, which I really like, and on top of that it has an awesome color scheme. And then unlike the Mandalorian Fang Fighter vs TIE Interceptor, the minifigure lineup in this set is very nice and very fitting. And now making our way into the top 3, at the number 3 spot, I have the best Ahsoka set that was released this year, being 75357 Ghost in Phantom 2. This set was released back in September as well with 1394 pieces and a retail price of $160 US. And I mean, the build in this set is just perfect. There's nothing else to say. We had been wanting a Ghost remake for almost 10 years and LEGO just absolutely blew it out of the water. The build is absolutely perfect. It's incredibly detailed and it's incredibly fun to play with, and it comes with the Phantom 2 that is to scale. It is downsized, but it still just looks super cool when it's on the back of the Ghost. And on top of that, the minifigure lineup is incredible as well, but also the minifigure lineup is where the only flaw in this set comes from, which is Jason Syndulla not having his green hair. But literally that is the only problem with this set. There is nothing else wrong with it. Price point is great, the build is great, the minifigures are great besides Jason. It really is a perfect set that I recommend to everybody. At the number 2 spot, I have a set that gets way overlooked and way overhated and definitely needs more love, which is 75355 X-Wing Starfighter. This set was released back in May with 1949 pieces and a retail price of $240, and man, this is just an absolutely gorgeous model. Yes, blah blah blah, you can say we didn't need another UCS X-Wing remake, and I mean, I can get behind that, but even if it wasn't a very wanted set, it still just looks incredible. I mean, I really think this is the best X-Wing LEGO has ever made by a long shot. It's so sleek and it represents an X-Wing so well, and the S-foils do open up a lot further unlike the previous UCS X-Wings, which just makes it look so much more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, if you want a UCS set and you don't want to buy one of the big $600 UCS sets that are currently out, there is literally not a better option to go with than this UCS X-Wing. And on to the number 1 spot, the best LEGO Star Wars set released in 2023 in my opinion. Who would have guessed? It's 75367 Venator Class Republic Attack Cruiser. This set was released back in October with 5,374 pieces and a retail price of $650 US. And I mean, what is there to say about this set that I haven't already said before? The model is just absolutely breathtaking. I think it's probably a top 5 LEGO Star Wars set ever made. And I mean, again, I just can't stress enough how good it looks. From every single angle, there is not a lack of detail anywhere. And yes, there's been complaints about it not having an interior, and I've covered this so many times, and I honestly hope I never have to cover it again, but this set did not need an interior, and it obviously wasn't gonna have one. It clearly couldn't have a hangar bay because there had to be a main spine that went right down the middle. In regards to there being room for minifigures in the back, that would have just not been logical because it would have added so many more pieces, therefore raising the price so much more. And the designers also said it would have been very hard to put into the build process because even though there is room back there, an interior would have been hard to integrate. So I mean, I really think the people complaining about this set not having an interior just need to give it a rest. It's a pure display piece and it does that incredibly well. If you want one of these $600 plus UCS sets out right now, this one is really a no-brainer in my opinion. From every angle, it's just incredible and it really will be a staple in your LEGO Star Wars collection. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought about 2023 as a year for LEGO Star Wars and what your favorite set was. And again, if you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.